Hello YouTube. This is the review of the original Game Boy Advance. You can see this is the Game Boy Advance. This is the original. You can kind of see it in the wording there. Notice that's a game pack. It's a little bit, a little bit different from the Game Boy Color, obviously. You can see it's got a R button, an L button, and that's new on the Game Boy Advance because the Game Boy Color didn't have those. But it still has the D-pad as the start and the select over here, which is a little bit different. It has the A and B buttons here. And then what I find strange about the system is the speaker here, and then the power is here. What I find strange is that they got the headphone jack real close to the volume control. Now if they had moved it down just a hair, that would have given it a little bit of a gap, but it's so small that big hands can't even reach in there because they made it so small. Now, has an external port on the top, which works with Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games, but requires two different link cables. For Game Boy Advance games, it requires the Game Boy Advance link cable, and then the Game Boy Color games require the Game Boy Color link cable because it's different wiring. But it's widescreen. I'll zoom in there instead of full, so it's kind of different. One thing I want to point out is take this out. It takes two AA batteries, just like the Game Boy Color. Now, I've actually got one of these packs on here, but the only thing wrong with these right here is it makes it so you can plug a cord into it, except for the problem is it distorts the sound, and it don't work real well with the e-reader. So if you have an e-reader which plugs in the top in the cartridge slot, it kind of messes up. If you try to scan a card, it just won't handle that much power, so it just shuts down. But for the most part, it's a pretty durable system. Speaker's a little bit different. Feels like it might be better. I think it's at least a little bit louder. Seems to be pretty built. It's lighter than the Game Boy Color for the most part. A little bit bigger than the Game Boy Color, though. Is one big thing. That's the bad thing about it. It's about the only negative thing. It's got really good graphics. It's a 32-bit system. While they kind of skipped over and stuff, and they didn't do too bad of a job, but can't complain about that. So, well, that concludes the review of the Game Boy Advance.